Fine. Unless you've been living under a rock for the last number of weeks, it should come as no surprise that Frieza was added to Universe 7's squad for the upcoming tournament to make up for the fact that Majin Buu fell asleep. Ignoring, of course, obvious character bias and blatant shoehorning, I have to say that I'm grateful that Resurrection F wasn't our lasting image of Frieza, and so far, his portrayal and execution has been, well, perfect. However, this last-minute substitution has made my series incomplete. And, well, we can't have that now, can we? So, you guys know the drill. Using as much official reference as I can muster together, I will try to find out what is Frieza's current power level. You know, for fun. He's the most wicked, he's the best worst guy, he's the closest thing Dragon Ball will ever get to an Oscar. He's Frieza. I'm Toy Not Mark, and this is the Power Level Series. Episode 8, Lord Frieza. Frieza's race is undefined, however we do know that he is a hybrid mutant of said race, with an age of approximately 80 years, standing with a height of 5 feet and a weight of 100 pounds. His techniques include Death Beam, Death Ball, Death Saucer, and Touch of Death. Frieza has 4 officially stated power levels, those being 530,000, over 1 million, 60 million, and 120 million. However, we have every indication that Frieza will be vastly stronger than that today, so let's have a look. Unlike the other participants in Universe 7's squad, Frieza doesn't have the luxury of being a mainstay like Goku and Vegeta are in the series, no matter how much they try. In the beginning, Frieza is described in the series as this hugely powerful intergalactic dictator who oversees his own army, the Frieza Force, of which the Saiyans, the main series antagonists in the arc prior, were members, and we all know how that turned out. Additionally, Frieza's father, King Cold, is a mutant with an abnormally high power level, and due to this, Frieza also possesses those mutant traits, making his power output far greater than the norm among Frieza's race, and even greater than his father, cementing his place as the strongest in the universe. You know, apart from Beerus, Whis, and Majin Buu. But let's ignore that for now. Frieza might not have been the first to introduce transformations to the series, but certainly is synonymous with them. The funny thing is, these really aren't transformations, or at least not in the traditional sense. Everything before, quote, his final form, are states of suppression, forms he reverts to, or perhaps even created, to better manage his immense power. In short, the rest of Frieza's race would probably be walking around like this, because they don't need to suppress anything. In truth, Frieza only had one definite transformation, but I'm getting way ahead of myself here. Let's start at the beginning. We are formally introduced to the character Frieza while accompanied by Zarbon and Dodoria as they attempt to convince the Namekian people to hand over their Dragon Balls. Good thing he overheard that conversation between Nappa and Vegeta, otherwise this wouldn't have happened at all. Once all of his forces have failed to squash the efforts of Goku, Vegeta, Krillin, and Gohan, Frieza not only loses his wish with the dragon, but is also forced to take matters into his own hands. For the very first time, we see him go face to face with Vegeta, who, shockingly enough at the time, after having gone through a series of enormous power boosts, is on pretty equal footing with Frieza. In his most suppressed form, or base form, Frieza has an officially stated power level of 530,000. But Vegeta's equal footing with Frieza wouldn't last too long. Why? Because he has so many transformations, the first of which brings him over the 1 million mark in terms of power level. He also gains what looks like 5 feet in height, only to lose it all at once in unveiling his true final state, which I still consider to this day as being the best villain character design in the series. Great job, Akira Toriyama. Once we cut to the meat and bones of this confrontation with Frieza, who is fighting against series protagonist Goku. Frieza at this time using only 50% of his power, or utilizing a power level of 60 million, is making sport of Goku, literally bashing his face in. On the verge of fatigue, having exhausted all other techniques like the Kamehameha and Kaioken with a multiplier of times 20, Goku bets everything on the Spirit Bomb, or Genki Dama depending on your translation, which amazingly Frieza survives, though not completely unscathed. What follows is something I'm sure you're all familiar with. Frieza kills Krillin. Goku doesn't much like the fact that Frieza killed Krillin. Goku screams the black off his hair. Goku fights Frieza as a blonde dude, yada yada yada, it's covered extensively. What's important here is that Frieza during this battle utilizes 100% of his power, bringing our final officially stated power level to that of 120 million. Okay, so that was the easy part. Now comes the hard part, the part that involves no officially stated power levels. after his defeat at the hands of Goku. We next see Frieza when he arrives on Earth in his newly mechanized body. His presence is fleeting, however, as a new Super Saiyan called Trunks proceeds to slice and dice the mechanical purple Hitler. And believe it or not, that was the last time we saw Frieza as part of the main series story, excluding non-canon elements like movies and filler. The last time Frieza featured in the manga was in 1991, and we wouldn't see a canon Frieza until Resurrection F, 24 years later in 2015. In story, however, it's only been about 15 years, but still, 15 years! So, Frieza's story kicks off once again thanks to the efforts of newly introduced characters Sorbet and Toguma, the former having taken up command in Frieza's stead. They decide to resurrect him because... reasons, and that leads to this, which I am completely fine with because it has this song. Frieza, 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 Frieza! Oh, that's the good stuff. And yeah, you bet I'm covering the events of the movie. Why, you ask? Because that show never happened. Hey, no, shut up! It never happened. Frieza goes on to claim that if he were to train in earnest for 4 months, he could reach a power level of 1.3 million, which on the surface makes absolutely zero sense. Unless you provide, of course, the excuse that he was referring to his base form, which, if that was the case, why would he do that? Seems like a meaningless measure of power in my opinion. I, however, believe that people read far too much into that part of the conversation when, in reality, the most eye-opening aspect of it came moments prior, when he said this.
I never trained a day in my life. There was never a need. Imagine what could happen if I unlock my latent potential.
It is here that Frieza states that he has no experience training. Frieza might know words like salubrious and gauche, but he can't know something if he has no experience in practicing it. So because of that, the 1.3 million remark is at most an extremely rough estimate based on zero experience. Fast forward, and Frieza, who was having difficulty defending against Goku in base form, reveals that he has now unlocked a new transformation, one that goes beyond his previously established final form's limits. He dubbed it Golden Frieza. Goku had been dominating Frieza prior to the transformation without utilizing a transformation himself. Suddenly, Frieza flips the script on Goku in his golden form, and, stamina aside, he was stronger than Super Saiyan Blue Goku, who was at the time the gang's strongest character alongside Vegeta. In less than 4 months, Frieza went from losing to... In a previous episode of the Power Level series, we have already previously estimated Beerus to be somewhere in the region of 245 quintillion, and you can check out this video to find out why. In short, I established an estimate based on the context of the series between Beerus, Goku, and Vegeta. So, during the Resurrection F arc, Goku might be somewhere in the region of 4% Beerus, bearing in mind that Beerus is as strong as the story demands. Unlike the Battle of Gods movie, which touted that Beerus used 70% of his power, whereas in the anime, he stated that he was beginning to think it was a waste of time, indicating that Goku was far below that of Beerus' power. Akira Toriyama has also been quoted in saying that they have no plans for Goku and Co. to surpass Beerus and Whis. He was of course referring to the Dragon Ball Super anime. So if you're interested in seeing the mental gymnastics I had to perform to come up with that figure, I will leave a link in the description down below to the video that you want to see. But basically, Goku falls somewhere in the region of around 4% Beerus at this time, which equates to roughly 9.8 quintillion. So for the sake of balance and ease of calculation, we will guesstimate Frieza to be somewhere in the region of 10 quintillion, seeing as he was a fraction stronger than Super Saiyan Blue Goku. Again, this could be lower or higher. There are no official statements or references for this section of the story with regards strength levels. Sadly, or thank God, depending on your point of view, Frieza gets Goku'd and isn't seen from, again, well, until...
Oh, thank you!
Okay, I'm not even gonna lie, that was amazing. Initially, when the news broke that Majin Buu was going to be falling asleep, thus impeding his ability to participate in the Tournament of Power, my initial reaction was... However, then it was revealed that Frieza was going to be taking his place. Suddenly, I had bigger problems. I began to get flashes of that thing I told you that didn't happen. By the way, it didn't happen. Shut your dirty mouth! But what followed was sensational. easily some of the very best episodes I have ever seen in terms of Dragon Ball. Superb animation, great character acting, on-point dialogue with an interesting story twist. My sucking of Super's dick aside, it also brought to my attention something strange. Or at least something I thought was strange up until very recently. Frieza, during the period of time between the Resurrection F arc and the Universe Survival arc, had grown stronger. And not just a little stronger, much stronger, accompanied with proper ki control. So strong, in fact, that he could brush off the ki of the Universe 9 God of Destruction. Yeah, Frieza's the man now. Recognize. But it got me thinking, if Frieza has no experience training or fighting and had no means of moving even, how could he increase his power output so sharply? Well, your good friend Toy Nut Mark has the answer. As we have already established, Frieza is a prodigy, a naturally gifted warrior with potential that went untapped because, as he said,
there was never a need.
However, when he was forced to train for the months leading up to Resurrection F's main battle, it's not outside the realms of possibility to think that Frieza picked up a few things. So by the end, he could have known how to train and get stronger quickly at that. But, I hear you ask, he was still in that cocoon thing, unable to move. How could he possibly train? Well, with an established technique called image training. In the past, we have seen characters like Piccolo focus on meditation, Vegeta has stood in wastelands for days at a time, Trunks did it in preparation for Black. Heck, even Gohan and Goku used this technique to see if Krillin was strong enough in this very arc. So, having established that Frieza would learn quickly how to train, it's not a far reach to assume that he could improve quickly through this methodology, especially when he was given nothing but time. Taking all of that into account, and that he went head to head with full power Super Saiyan Blue Goku yielding a tied result, this must mean that the now redubbed true Golden Frieza, which is free from inefficient stamina consumption, would be somewhere in the region of 15 quintillion or more. Considering relative to Goku, he is near equal. However, there is still no concrete evidence to suggest that both were going all out in this exchange. We know that Goku is capable of multiplying his strength through the Kaioken, so who knows what Frieza might be capable of. One interesting point that I think is worth mentioning, Goku states prior to Frieza's resurrection that if he acts out, both himself and Vegeta would keep Frieza in check. However, after fighting with him, Goku only mentions himself as being the one to keep Frieza in check. I could be reading too much into this, but this could also be an indication that Frieza, at this point, is the second strongest on the team, pushing Vegeta below him. Keep an eye on that space. Frieza is and always has been my favorite villain, and I am thrilled to see that he has made this much of an impact so long after his initial unveiling back in the early 90s. There is something to be said, however, about finality and its importance. I am firmly in the corner that all great things must come to an end. Dragon Ball Z never prepared for that, and as a result had a subpar ending. As long as Dragon Ball Super has an ending in mind, I am willing to sit back and relax as Frieza continues to do what he does best, being an intimidating, ruthless, merciless, conniving, conspiring, reckless, selfish, manipulative, bloodthirsty bastard. All words which describe the now more powerful than ever, Frieza. Bow to the Emperor. I hope you guys enjoyed this bonus episode of the Power Level series. I've been Totally Not Mark, and as always, thank you so much for watching.